Imagine this, it's 1963, and the Cold War's icy grip has London shrouded in paranoia, KGB whispers in embassy corridors, double agents flipping like pancakes, and the Cuban Missile Crisis still fresh in everyone's nightmares, a mere 9 months prior. Spies aren't just in novels, they're at the garden parties of the elite. In the glittering underbelly of swinging London, where debutantes rub shoulders with showgirls and politicians chase thrills, one illicit liaison explodes like a grenade in Westminster. It's not just an affair, it's a perfect storm of sex, secrets, and shattered trust that topples a prime minister and exposes the crumbling pillars of the British establishment. This is the Profumo Affair, a scandal so juicy it inspired books, films, and endless tabloid fodder, yet its tendrils reach into the heart of power. Buckle up, history buffs, because we're unearthing the details that textbooks gloss over, the stolen glances, the frantic letters, the suicides, and the spy games that nearly handed NATO secrets to the Soviets on a silver platter. Welcome back to the Learn with Life, your go-to for the scandals that shaped the shadows of history. If you're new, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell. We're dropping deep dives like this every week, and you don't want to miss the next one on the hidden handshakes of Watergate. Today, we're not skimming the surface, we're diving headfirst into the Profumo Affair's murky depths, armed with declassified files, forgotten interviews, and those tantalizing what-ifs that keep historians up at night. From the fog-shrouded estates of the aristocracy to the smoke-filled backrooms of MI5, let's unravel how a 21-year-old model's bedroom became a battlefield for empire. We'll trace the timeline step by step, because in this tale, every date is a domino tipping toward disaster. Let's set the scene in early 1960s Britain, a nation still licking its wounds from the Suez debacle of 1956, where Macmillan's botched invasion of Egypt had humiliated the old imperial power on the world stage. Enter Harold Macmillan, the avuncular Supermac, a World War I veteran with a mustache like a broom and a knack for folksy speeches about never having it so good. As Prime Minister since 1957, he's steering the Conservatives through economic booms and nuclear saber-rattling, his government a fortress of Eton old boys and country squires. But the facade is fracturing. Spy scandals like the Portland Ring in 1961, where naval cipher clerks sold secrets to the Soviets, and the arrest of double agent George Blake, have the public twitchy. Into this pressure cooker slithers John Profumo, the epitome of Tory polish, 46, dashingly handsome with a war record that reads like a boy's own adventure. John Dennis Profumo wasn't born with a silver spoon. His Italian immigrant father's wallpaper business gave him a middle-class edge in a class-obsessed world. He stormed into Parliament in 1940 as the baby-faced MP for Kettering, fresh from charging tanks in the Northamptonshire Yeomanry during the war, wounded at Monte Cassino, no less. By 1950, he'd clawed back a seat at Stratford-upon-Avon and climbed the greasy pole, junior minister under Churchill, Foreign Office under Eden. In 1960, Macmillan hands him the plum job of Secretary of State for War, just as Britain's army sheds its empire and braces for the bomb. Profumo's the golden boy, eloquent, energetic, married since 1954 to Valerie Hobson, the raven-haired actress from Kind Hearts and Coronets, whose star power outshone his own in the early days. They summer at Cliveden, Lord Astor's gilded pile, rubbing elbows with the Astor set. But Jack, as friends called him, had a roving eye, excusing late-night flings with parliamentary business. Little did he know, his next conquest would be his undoing. Cue Christine Keeler, the wide-eyed ingenue who embodied the era's dangerous allure, a 21-year-old with curves that turned heads and a backstory straight out of Dickens. Born in 1942 in the grim suburbs of Uxbridge to a single mom and a trumpet-playing dad who vanished early, Christine scraped by in a 2-up 2-down in Hayes, leaving school at 15 with no qualms but dreams of glamour. She bounced through dead-end jobs, shop girl, filing clerk, waitress, before landing in Soho's neon haze at 17. By 1959, she was a topless showgirl at Murray's Cabaret Club, twisting in a white feather headdress for leering toffs who could ogle but not touch, as per the house rules. It was gritty, it was thrilling. She pocketed tips from lords and laughed off propositions. But Christine craved more, modeling gigs in Titbits magazine, a flat share with her bestie Mandy Rice-Davies, another Murray's dancer with ambitions and attitude. Enter Stephen Ward, the silver-tongued osteopath who spots her potential like a diamond in the rough. Stephen Ward was a chameleon in tweeds, the ultimate social alchemist turning misfits into insiders. Born in 1912 to a vicar's family in Hertfordshire, he trained as an osteopath in the States during the Depression, honing hands that could unknot the knots of the mighty back home. By the 1950s, his Cavendish Square practice was a who's who: Winston Churchill for his aches, Ava Gardner for her strains, even Prince Philip, whose portrait Ward sketched at the Slade School in his spare time. He dabbled as an artist, hawking royal caricatures to the Illustrated London News for extra cash. Ward's genius? His Rolodex of the rich. He rented a cottage on the Cliveden estate from Lord Astor, the press baron whose sprawling Buckinghamshire pile screamed old money, and turned it into a weekend salon for the swinging elite. Think nude swims, philosophical chats, and just a hint of naughtiness. But Ward had a darker side. MI5 knew him as a gossip funnel, and he'd befriended Yevgeny Ivanov, the Soviet naval attaché, who was really a GRU spook, through a Daily Telegraph editor's Moscow jaunt. Ward even moonlighted as an MI5 backchannel during the Cuban Missile Crisis, feeding Ivanov policy nuggets to lure him to defect. Little did he know, his party games would paint him as a pimp. It all ignites on July 8 to 9, 1961, at Cliveden, a weekend bash honoring Pakistan's President Ayub Khan, with Profumo and Valerie hobnobbing in the main house. Down at the pool, Ward's crew is frolicking. Christine, topless and towel-clutching after a midnight dip, gets introduced to the Profumos. Jack's eyes light up. He murmurs something about her sparkling energy. Yevgeny Ivanov arrives the next day, all vodka charm and Brill cream, turning the splash-about into what Lord Denning later primly dubbed a frolicsome bathing party. Ward, ever the facilitator, slips Profumo Keeler's number. Within days, Jack's on the blower, borrowing a Bentley from colleague John Hare for a joyride tryst. Their affair? Fleeting and feverish, a screw of convenience, Keeler later quipped, stolen hours at Ward's Wimpole Mews house or Profumo's Belgravia pad. He gifts her £20 for her mom, a black lace negligee that whispers promises. But Ivan's already in the mix. Ward paired them months earlier at a spring party, their pillow talk laced with danger. Did she coax nuclear secrets about West Germany's rearmament from Ivan, or was it all champagne-fueled fantasy? Profumos warned on August 9 by cabinet bigwig Norman Brooke, Ward's a marked man, monitored by MI5 for his Soviet chumminess. That very day, Jack pens the infamous, "Darling," letter to Christine, "Darling. Alas, something's blown up tomorrow night and I can't therefore make it. I leave the next day for various trips and then a vacation, so won't be able to see you again until sometime in September. Blast it. Please take great care of yourself and don't run away. Love, Jay." The fling fizzles by December, but the threads tangle tighter. Fast forward to the powder keg of late 1961 into 1962, Keeler's juggling volatile lovers like hot coals. She's entangled with Jamaican jazz singer Aloysius "Lucky" Gordon, a Notting Hill bruiser whose jealousy erupts in slashed faces and arrests, charges dropped, but the bruises linger. Then comes Johnny Edgecombe, a flashy promoter with a Beretta and a temper. Meanwhile, Ward's pulling strings. He and Mandy Rice-Davies jet to New York for modeling hustles, but FBI whispers later link Christine to a rumored White House tumble with JFK, pure tabloid spice, or Soviet honeytrap gold. Back home, a July 1962 Queen magazine gossip column drops a coded bombshell, called an MI5 because every time the chauffeur-driven Zills drew up at her front door, out of her back door into a chauffeur-driven Humber slipped. Private Eye parodies it mercilessly as Mr. James Montesi and Miss Gay Fun-Loving. Tensions boil over December 14, 1962. Edgecombe, jilted and raging, storms Ward's flat, blasting 3 shots through the door where Keeler's holed up with a new beau. No hits, but the bang echoes. Edgecombe's nicked for attempted murder, and the scandal sent wafts to Fleet Street. 1963 dawns like a storm cloud. Ivan's yanked back to Moscow on January 22, recalled, or spooked. Keeler shops her story, $200 from the Sunday Pictorial, but Ward and Astor squash it like a bug. Edgecombe's trial in March turns circus. Christine vanishes to Spain, dodging subpoenas, sparking perversion of justice, cries from labor firebrands like Barbara Castle. On March 21, George Whig, the Bulldog MP with a nose for sleaze, waves parliamentary privilege like a red flag in the Commons, hinting at ministerial misconduct. The Daily Mirror's Peter Thompson, tipped by a shadowy source, unleashes the War Minister in Love racket on March 22. Profumo, cornered like a fox in the dispatch box, delivers his defiant denial. It is utterly untrue that I am or ever have been guilty of the charges. There was no impropriety whatsoever in my acquaintanceship with Miss Keeler. Tories cheer, opposition jeers. But backstage? MI5 sweating, tapped phones, 140 interviews, Keeler spilling to cops that yes, she bedded the War Secretary. Macmillan, briefed but blind, clings to the Galbraith precedent from the Vassal spy flap, where a minister resigned over rumors alone. The cracks widen through spring. April 18, Gordon slashes Keeler in a revenge attack. He's jailed on her testimony, later overturned on appeal. May 7, Ward confesses Profumo's porkies to Macmillan's aide Timothy Bly, crickets. By June 4, the walls close in, letters surface, witnesses pile up. Profumo cracks, scribbling to the PM, I have been a silly ass. Resignation drops June 5, a gut punch to number 10. The News of the World splashes Keeler's confessions on June 9, painting Ward as a Kremlin puppet. The Darling letter hits the Sunday Mirror, Profumo's perfumed indiscretion in black and white. Commons erupts June 17, ex-minister Nigel Birch thunders Robert Browning's, the lost leader, let him never come back to us. There would be doubt, hesitation and pain, as 27 Tory rebels abstain, slashing the government's majority to 69. Lord Hailsham snarls on BBC, a great party is not to be brought down because of a squalid affair between a woman of easy virtue and a proven liar. Malcolm Muggeridge piles on in print, the upper classes have always been given to lying, fornication, corrupt practices and, doubtless as a result of the public school system, sodomy. Enter the fall guy, Stephen Ward, arrested June 8 on vice charges, living off immoral earnings from pimping Keeler and Mandy to the elite. The Old Bailey trial, July 28, is a Roman orgy of innuendo. Prosecutor Mervyn Griffith-Jones sneers of the very depths of lechery and depravity. Rumors swirl, a naked masked man at Cliveden orgies? A cabinet minister, or even royalty? Mandy, remanded to Holloway for 8 days, steals the show with her diamond-sharp wit. When told Lord Astor denies betting her, she purrs, he would, wouldn't he? Ward, abandoned by his posh pals, no society toffs testifies hollow-eyed, sketching judges in the dock. On July 30, verdict looming, he downs Nembutal with vodka, comatose, he's convicted in absentia July 31 for abetting the girl's earnings. He slips away August 3, suicide by barbiturates per the coroner. Was it despair, or a nudge from the shadows? Keeler later called him her truest love, a gentleman, amid the wolves, while others branded him traitor, echoing the Cambridge Five. The cataclysm ripples outward. Profumo vanishes into atonement, scrubbing toilets at Toynbee Hall from 1964, clawing back respect as a charity titan, CBE in 75, Thatcher's national hero. Keeler? 9 months in Holloway for perjury, her life a carousel of bad husbands, aborted scandals. She claimed Profumo fathered one, and ghost-ridden memoirs that flip-flop like a politician. Mandy? Slow burn reinvention, nightclub queen, novelist, 3 husbands, quipping on the glare, like royalty, I simply do not complain. Ivan? Fades to 1992 memoirs alleging Profumo snapped docs for him, sued into silence. But the true scalp, Macmillan. The stress corrodes him, rumored stomach cancer, a misdiagnosis, it turned out, but the betrayal festers. He quits October 18, 1963, for health, paving Alec Douglas Holmes' doomed path. Labour's Harold Wilson sweeps in 64. The Denning Report, September 26, whitewashes it all, no spy breach, just indiscretion, but the stink lingers, lacks security, class chasms, a press unleashed. It nukes deference to the elite, births ethics watchdogs, sours Tory aristocracy for Thatcher's meritocrats. Echoes? Every leak, every hashtag #MeToo reckoning, vulnerability in the VIP lounge. So, what ghosts haunt Cliveden still? Was Ivan's defection ploy real, or MI5's fever dream? Did Keeler really whisper to Kennedy, or is that just spice for the stew? Did the establishment off Ward to bury deeper dirt, like those FBI files hinting at Prince Philip's party cameos? Spill your hot takes in the comments, pawn or player? Deserved downfall, or sacrificial lamb? If this expanded exposé on Empire's embarrassing undies gripped you, like, share, subscribe. Next week, we're cracking the enigma of the Zinoviev letter. Until then, heed the lesson, in the Game of Thrones and trysts, one loose thread unravels the tapestry. Thanks, and stay scandal savvy.